A crisis with no end in sight. That's how the Pima County Sheriff's largest union is now describing the ongoing staffing shortage.
Overtime costs are soaring, costing taxpayers millions more. The department is losing more staff than ever, and the sheriff can't hire replacements fast enough. So how did it sink to such an alarming level so fast? And how does it impact your safety in Pima County? Tonight, we begin our months-long investigation into how Sheriff Mark Napier is managing his department and taxpayer dollars, and some of the statements he's made contradict what we found. Pima County deputies cover a lot of ground, more than 9,000 square miles. The Rincon district alone is the size of Rhode Island. The union says the severe staffing shortage is taking an extra toll on patrols. At times, one deputy covers the entire Rincon district.
When you have one deputy working a district and you can't find other deputies to fill in because they're short, and you have to tell the supervisors to watch that district in case something happens, that places that deputy in jeopardy. It places the community in jeopardy.
Sergeant Kevin Kubitsky is speaking on behalf of the union. He patrols a different district.
I personally work the Green Valley district, and we've had numerous issues for more than 6 months. We've been asking for more bodies.
In the Catalina district, he says sometimes no one is assigned to cover a shift. The scenarios are not new to the patrol divisions, but insiders say recent troubles in staffing and scheduling are making matters worse, and the community is not getting the coverage it needs, like the time it takes for deputies to arrive at the highest priority calls, murder and assault, when seconds matter.
Who's beating on you?
I have no idea, man.
Take a look. Since 2016, the average response times increased by minutes, from 5 to 7 minutes in Rincon and 5 to 8 minutes in Green Valley. In Catalina, it's nearly 10 minutes. Kubitsky says deputies in the field have complained to the union that they have no help, no backup, and they blame Sheriff Mark Napier for creating the staffing crisis. Attorney Steve Portell represents the union. He says the consequences can be serious, sometimes fatal.
From the perspective of the deputies, we've never seen staffing levels this low. It's starting to become a serious problem for officer safety and public safety.
Let's look at the number of deputies out in the field this year. It's dropped below 400, now 397. The department is now down 35 deputies. But Sheriff Napier has a different perspective. He doesn't see it as a crisis. I have reached out repeatedly to the sheriff, requesting sit-down interviews on the staffing shortage and to discuss the data. He's declined each time. Napier told me it's not in my best interest. He's only responded to the staffing shortage in emails and texts. He's also made statements about his department in public meetings that KGUN 9 covered. Listen to what he said just weeks ago.
Our current staffing level is 92% of our sworn members.
What is his reaction?
The sheriff feels we're at 92% and that there's nothing wrong with staffing, that we're operating the same as what most agencies operate.
Napier told us field staffing is lower than ideal levels. We do not believe they have reached a critical level. He also wrote to staff several days later, "We are in fact increasingly busy and more short of staff than we would like. This is not ideal at all, but it's also not a crisis."
To claim that everything's okie-dokie is contrary to what the deputies are seeing every day.
To get more of an accurate picture of who's out handling and solving crimes, the union says that numbers need to be broken down by divisions, starting with patrol.
When you think about how a department operates and how it protects the community, the bottom line for any agency is its patrol division.
The staffing level in that division is much lower than the overall 92%. It's 85%. There are now 202 deputies hired to patrol, trending down from 233 in 2015. And now there's a new factor driving down the available deputies in the field even further that's not included in the data. It involves judicial security here in Superior Court. It's normally the job of corrections officers, but the Pima County Jail is severely understaffed.
I was bleeding bodies at a rate that was unsustainable in corrections.
Right now, the jail is down 51 corrections officers. Insiders say that's unprecedented. To cover the courts, Napier is pulling patrol deputies and detectives, 12 to 15 of them each day. The union calls that redeployment. and says the Criminal Investigation Division can't afford to lose any more people to cover the courtrooms. It's now at its lowest staffing level in years, 77%. Napier wrote to us that the staff shortage has not reached a critical level that would necessitate redeployment of existing resources, such as investigative personnel.
Yeah, what he's doing is he's playing a shell game with people right now where he moves people out of CID, detective area, into the courthouse to provide courthouse security. Their caseloads stop and because they're working in the courthouse. Those courthouse security people then go work at the jail. So yes, it has reached a critical staffing level minimum. He is having to move people around.
Primary indicators of a severe staffing shortage are slower response times and rising overtime hours. The drain on manpower has sent overtime costs soaring, projected to be $3.7 million and climbing, double what's budgeted, $1.8 million. In other words, it's costing taxpayers a lot more money.
They're working extremely hard. There's more responsibility put on deputies now than there was 2, 5, 10 years ago.
Is that because of the shortage or because of the demand that's out there in the public?
Both.
The union and insiders all agree the severe staffing shortage is pushing the department to its limits with no end in sight. And they all point to a decision the sheriff made his first month in office. And that's the next focus of our investigation. We'll bring you that tomorrow night at 10, and we have much more details, data, and documents on the investigation we just aired on our website, kgun9.com. And we also included the latest on proactive policing that the department took a pride in, or takes pride in, and the union says that's changed as well.
I can't wait for part 2 tomorrow night.
Yeah,
wow.
it's eye-opening.
It really is so far. Thank you, Val.